2 years ago in 2016, Niantic released Pokemon Go for both iOS and Android, and it took the world by storm. And it made a big deal to my life, a big change to my life that on face value doesn't seem too bad, but when you go into it, it's actually a bigger deal than you might expect. Anyway guys, my name's Ryan Thompson of Feltech. Niantic has updated its app and it is completely different. It is way better of a game than it ever used to be. Are those claims accurate, and should you be re-downloading it on your device? Let's find out. Also, sorry for the glasses, went to the opticians. My lazy eye was acting up, so they gave me these. Until I can figure out how to light glasses, that's going to be difficult. 2 years ago, there was so much hype for this game. Let's just recap. So the news was just blaring out this Pokemon Go stuff. Ali A was in full swing. Of course, now he plays that Fortnite game or whatever, but before he was playing a lot of Pokemon Go. Vikkstar, I can't think of any other YouTubers to be fair, but they were all playing Pokemon Go and it was a big thing. It was in the news, and in my local town, people were walking around with their phones clearly playing Pokemon Go. Everyone was excited about it. And that hype isn't as real now as it was back then. Okay, they've made some major updates, which actually a lot of us were asking for, and they really did listen to their audience, but I don't think it's a big enough change to bring back Pokemon Go to the level that like Fortnite is right now. So yeah, the hype isn't so real, but to be honest, a lot of my friends, especially Hunter, who plays Pokemon Go, is kind of excited about this, and he's got every right to be. If you're spoofing, this might not make a huge deal to you, but if you're someone who plays the game legit, then there are quite a few updates that are going to make your life a lot better. We've had buddies in the system for a long time, so, you know, where you could select one of your Pokemon, and depending on what version it is, I suppose, you can kind of walk a kilometer, 5 kilometers, 7 kilometers, and 10 kilometers, I believe, and you get a candy, which you can use to evolve or power up your Pokemon. We've had that for maybe a year now, maybe a year and a half. But there are a few more incentives. So that buddy system incentivized you to go and walk more because you've got more candy. However, there are some better incentives, ones that can actually make a difference if you're not into just walking everywhere. They're giving us reasons to be excited and play the game again, and they give us reasons to play it again. Like before it was great, but now they're giving us challenges, more events, more tasks to do. And they're not just as simple as walking your Pokemon or catching a certain type, but there are loads of different ones, you know, throwing great throws, catching certain types of Pokemon, evolving certain Pokemon, leveling up them, just loads of different types you can do. And these are pretty much daily challenges that give you actual rewards that are useful, like Ultra Balls, Great Balls, Candy, Stardust, anything like that. Like, it's actually useful, and it gives me a reason to actually play the game again. It felt like before you needed to just buy a bunch of incubators and just walk around a lot, whereas this way you get the incubators for free. Okay, they're only 3 usage, but you know what I mean? Like, you're actually getting what you don't pay for because you're actually doing the tasks to get the items, as opposed to going and spending loads of money on the Pokegold. They even give out lures and incense and lucky eggs, which I didn't think they would do, but they have done, and it's pretty cool to be fair. Lures are super useful in my hometown because there are a lot of stops and there are a lot of people around. Also, I haven't mentioned it yet, but there are a lot more Pokemon in the game. Like, before I was happy with the limited amount that there were, just purely because I hadn't caught all of them. I'm actually pretty bad at this game and I don't use it much, but the times I did use it, I was like really into it. So this was like 2 years ago, 2016. And obviously I haven't caught the first gen yet. I haven't caught all of them. Like, I've caught a few, but not all of them. And now there are like 350 plus Pokemon. So it's really expanded the Pokedex and the library. And I'll be very surprised if you have all of them. If you have, leave me a comment. I don't know if that's even possible. Like, it's pretty extreme. But yeah, there are a lot of different spawns and stuff in different areas, whether you go to the water. Obviously, this was in the original game, but it's even more incentivized with stuff like events. So you might have an event on for a weekend or a week that spawns more water type Pokemon or more fire type or mystic type Pokemon, stuff like that. That's actually really useful and changes the game up. And one thing that was added to the game that everyone was asking for was trading. However, right now, when you trade, you have to be a friend. So you can add people on your friends list using a friend code. There's my friend code. Add me if you want. I don't know if any of you even play Pokemon Go anymore, but yeah, that's what you do. You add a friend, and then you have to be within 100 meters of them, and then you can select them and trade 1-for-1 Pokemon. Seems to work quite well. Also, I have to mention you have to be level 10 plus for this to work. So it started off with 40, they were rolling it out, so I think it's just so the servers didn't crash. But to start with, it was level 40, which is obviously max level, 30, 20, and now it's 10. And I believe it'll probably stay at 10 just because then you don't get people who just like spam the game. So I think 10's a good level. Most people are at least level 20 by now. Although this isn't necessarily to do with trading, with the friends thing, you can get gifts from stops now, which is kind of like, it could be anything, but usually it's quite low end. It's kind of like some candy or a potion or something. And you get them from Pokestops just by spinning like you would usually get Pokeballs or whatever. And then you click on your friend and you click send and you send a gift. Like, it's pretty simple. You can do this once a day and you can do it both ways. So, I mean, it's kind of cool. It's not the best thing in the world. I wish you could trade items. Like, it would be really useful to, like, for example, I live next to a stop, whereas my girlfriend doesn't, but she has some Pokemon that maybe I could trade with like a bunch of Pokeballs, kind of like the Steam trading thing. I don't know how that would work, but it's something that would be really cool to do. I don't believe you can do it in the original Pokemon though. There are more items now, so you can get like certain different items that evolve Pokemon to different types of Pokemon. I'm pretty much a Pokemon like noob, so I'm not really sure how this works. But say you take a Pokemon, you can evolve it up one. Well, now there are items that allow you to evolve it to a different one. I don't know, it's useful. You get them from stops as well. It's one of those things where you're going to need a bag upgrade because I've already maxed out my bag like 3 or 4 times in the past day just from sitting at Pokestops. So to round up, you have trading, you have a lot more Pokemon, new evolutions and variants, new items in the game, more incentives to play, better rewards for those who actually play the game more, and an overall experience that I think was a really well needed patch a few months ago. Now, is it a bit too late? Maybe it is, but a lot of the people who are into Pokemon Go are into it and it's like its own little niche, and a lot of people are excited about it. And to be fair, they've got every right to be. It is definitely more of a fun game than something where you just sit down all day, and it gets people outside. But now I'm going to tell you why this game kind of changed my life. I actually am pretty open that I suffer from pretty major level anxiety. So when I'm out and about, and especially in a town where I live, I kind of live in the middle of town, it's a difficult place to be. It can make it really difficult to leave the house. And that might not be something you're expecting as someone who watches my videos, but it's just something that I have and I have to deal with. However, when I had Pokemon Go, and this started way back, years and years ago, but when I had Pokemon Go in 2016, it gave me something to focus on. And it kind of made me excited to go outside because I could focus on the game. Now, obviously, I love my scenery. I love going to the beach. I love going to the woods and stuff. And that's fine. But when I'm in town, when I have to go and post a parcel, or I've got to go and do something like that, where I would usually have to take someone with me, I can play Pokemon Go and it kind of doesn't feel so much like eyes are digging into the back of my head. And I've actually got something to take my mind off it. That might mean not a lot to you, but it definitely means a lot to me. And if it helps me get out of the house, maybe it's not the game, just a distraction that makes the difference. And with a lot of people, it helps them get out of the house. There are a lot of people who wouldn't exercise. There are a lot of people who just wouldn't go outside. Maybe they have the same problem as me with anxiety, or maybe they have a disability and they don't have that get up and go. But when they have this game, they feel more inclined to do it. And I know a lot of people who have become a lot healthier and have actually helped them recover from things just by going out and playing Pokemon Go. Now, obviously, the game itself isn't that big of a deal, but the premise behind the game, the idea that you go out and you play a lot, and it doesn't use a lot of data, so pretty much anyone with like a 1 gig or 2 gig plan can play this pretty much all day, no problem. However, it does have a few bugs, and those are 2 things that I'm going to cover right now. Firstly, is it eats up a lot of battery. Now, a lot of you probably know this. Pokemon Go back in the day was very controversial for eating up your battery life, and it's still true to this day. I do notice it a lot. However, phones with an AMOLED screen, put it in battery saver mode, flip your phone upside down, and it actually turns off pretty much all the pixels, which does save battery, and you just put it in your pocket. You'll get a vibration when a Pokestop or a Pokemon comes up, so that's really down to you. I like that mode, and I'm really glad that Pokemon and Niantic have that in the game. Secondly, and this is something that's changed over the years, I never used to have a problem with GPS signals in my house and around my house with my Android phone. And I've had this exact phone, the other OnePlus 3, the S7 Edge, the iPhone 7, the iPhone 6S, the 6S Plus, and I played Pokemon Go on all of those. And I used to sit in my room and actually the phones would kind of roam a little bit, so it would allow me to kind of collect candy and stuff, but not too much, and it wasn't too infrequent. However, switching over, I can't really play Pokemon Go on this thing anymore. Like, the GPS connection is so bad that, like, what? I've tried it on the Note 4, I've tried it on this. The iPhone does it to some degree, but absolutely nowhere near the amount. And I keep getting this GPS signal lost error. And I've got high accuracy GPS on, I've turned it off, I've connected to Wi-Fi, I've done all the things that the online people are telling me to do. But for some reason, it's just not as good. So that is one thing to watch out for. I cannot play Pokemon Go on this, and I have my SIM in Katie's iPhone 5S, and I've been using that. In conclusion then, is it worth re-downloading? If you're into Pokemon Go, or you used to be into Pokemon Go, I think it's a really good upgrade. And I feel like even though it might just be an update, it's not a whole new game, it does feel pretty new. There are a lot of updates. If you haven't played it in the past year, I do recommend you download it if you enjoyed it before, because there are a lot of incentives. If you don't play Pokemon Go, try it out again. I don't know, there are a lot of things that people are asking for and demanding in the first kind of version that are now here, and maybe this is what it takes to get you to play the game. I really like it. I don't frequently play it like all the time, mainly only when I'm going out. Yes, there are still bugs, yes, there are still problems, but there's pretty much that with every single application. And that's it from me. Hopefully you took something away from this video. I hope I taught you something, or you learned something, or just entertained you in general. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you so much for watching. Please do like, dislike, comment, subscribe if you're new around here to not miss a video like this one. Also, please follow me on social media because it helps me out and we can start a conversation over there as well. And I really want to thank my patrons for your continued support. You guys are amazing and I love you. So again, I've been Ryan Thomas for Failtech. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.